Welcome to another episode of Kitchen Sink Photography, the show for people who want to get hands-on with photography but don't want to use a darkroom. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to change the color of your cyanotypes. Now, you may ask, why would I want to do that? If I didn't want it to be blue, why would I make a cyanotype? Cyan is right there in its name. Well, the reason is that for all of the analog photographic processes, I'd have to say that the cyanotype is the simplest. So if we can add some options to what is basically a simple process, that will open up some creative opportunities for you. So how does this work? Well, it's a process called toning. And the first step is to bleach the cyanotype in an alkali solution. Now we know from previous episodes that alkali is not friendly to cyanotypes. That's why we try to use unbuffered papers and why we put a little bit of lemon juice in our wash water when we develop the cyanotype. But what the alkali will do in this case is it starts to break down the cyanotype. It opens up some chemical bonds so that the toning solution can work on them to change the color. So for the bleaching solution, we're looking for an alkali, and if you want, you can buy a whole kit from a number of places, for example, Bostic and Sullivan. So their solution for bleaching is potassium carbonate, and their solution for toning is tannic acid. Well, in the spirit of kitchen sink photography, we're going to try to look for chemicals that you might have around your house that you use for other purposes. So Bostic and Sullivan give us a kind of a hint here. They're talking about potassium carbonate. Well, so maybe what will work is laundry powder. Laundry powder is calcium carbonate. It's not to be confused with baking soda, which is calcium bicarbonate. So calcium carbonate washing soda is what we're going to look for. And for toning, we're going to look for something acidic because we know that cyanotypes like acidic. And so instead of tannic acid from Bostic and Sullivan, what we're going to use is tea, which we know contains tannic acid along with some other chemicals. Okay, so to get started, we're going to make the bleaching solution, and what I'm going to do is make about 3 cups of solution. I will put about 1 tablespoon of the laundry soda in each cup. So here we go. Give it a good stir. The exact concentration, not all that important. Might take a while to get it to dissolve. Could use warm water to make it a little bit faster. Okay, that's 1 cup. For those of you using the metric system, it's 500 milliliters, about the same. And a tablespoon, I think, is 3 grams. About 15 grams. It's not all dissolved, so I will continue to stir it here. And now add the tea to the toning tray. And it's not quite deep enough, so I'm going to add some more water. Okay, now we will get our cyanotype, which we previously exposed and developed. I gave this one a little bit extra exposure. It looked good at 15 minutes, but I gave it 20 minutes to make it a little bit darker, give it a little bit more for the chemicals to bite into. So we put it in the toning bath, and then we watch as it gets lighter. We want to pull it out when it turns yellow, but before it totally fades away. Give it a little bit of rinse in the water to stop it from bleaching. Yeah, get a good look at it now. It's like yellow. And now we will put it in the toning bath. And it could take a little while for it to tone. A few minutes, up to half an hour. You don't want to leave it in there too long, or the toning solution will start to soak into the paper and give the paper the same color as the image, which kind of ruins the contrast. That's called staining. Give it a little bit longer there. If you thought the bleaching went too fast and you might not be able to pull it out in time, you can make a little bit more dilute solution, not adding so many teaspoons of washing soda. Also, if you want to, you can get kind of a duotone by not bleaching it quite so far, keeping some of the blue, and then parts of the print will be blue and parts of it will be the toned color. And it depends on how dark the original cyanotype was in those different places. And that can produce kind of a nice look. For some reason, I've had better luck with caffeinated tea than decaffeinated tea. That may be just random event. You might have a different experience. The washing soda that I used, I couldn't find at the grocery store, but I did find it at the hardware store. I think I bought this at Lowe's, but they're probably at other hardware stores as well. Some people use borax instead of washing soda. It seemed to take a little bit longer to bleach, and it's certainly more likely to be available at the grocery store. So here's another one of those tricky parts. You want to leave it in the toning solution long enough so the image gets as dark as possible. But you want to take it out before very much of the toning solution soaks into the paper, which will reduce the contrast. So once you've decided it's time to take it out, then the next step is to give it a good wash, maybe 10 minutes in running water. You want to wash off as much of the toning solution as possible, leaving behind only that which is chemically bonded to the image itself. Once the tone cyanotype is completely washed, then we will put it out to dry. You can either hang it up or you can put it onto some paper towels. It'll take several hours, maybe overnight, to dry. We'll come back and take a look at it after that has happened. Here is the final tone cyanotype. And here is a comparison of the tone cyanotype and the original cyanotype. Well, we've really just touched the surface of what you can do with toning cyanotypes. There's many different combinations that you can explore. You can try different bleaching solutions, for example, ammonia or trisodium phosphate, or TSP, which you can often pick up at the hardware store. And then for the toning solution, you can make various different kinds of teas. Green tea is very popular, but you can make tea from oak bark and other organic sources. And coffee is another very popular toning solution, each of which will give a different result. I've also found that the process isn't highly reproducible, and so I usually make 3 cyanotype prints essentially identical and then tone each of them and then pick the one I like the best. Now, if you are more careful with your process and timing the different steps and keeping the concentrations constant, maybe you'll find you can get more reproducible results. But I kind of like the serendipity of what will happen. I would also recommend that you use a much lower concentration of the sodium carbonate than the concentration I used in this video. The lower the concentration, the slower the bleaching process. And although you might get bored, it makes it easier for you to pick the time at which you want to pull it out of the bleaching solution to get the results that you want. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you continue to experiment with your cyanotypes. And meanwhile, please enjoy some tone cyanotypes from some other artists, which I hope will be an inspiration to you. And meanwhile, stay tuned for the next episode of Kitchen Sink Photography.